Thank you for being here today. This is a special presentation for any of you who are new here during Sunday service. Today we're going to be looking at our past year with Sanctuary. This is something that is really important to us as a community, to have transparency and to have an ongoing conversation with our membership and our community about how things are going, what's going on, what we can do differently. And so we're really looking forward to more presentations and conversations like this in the future. Okay, our journey today, what will we be looking at? Our vision of Sanctuary, our vision for tomorrow, our vision for 100 years from now, reminding ourselves what we're doing here. It can get easy to get caught up in the day-to-day activities. So reminding ourselves that we're building something much bigger than just tomorrow or just even this lifetime. Looking at our fundraising and financial goals for the future, looking at the impact that we're having on not just our community here within our bubble of Sanctuary, but the ripple effect, how that impacts our community in Kentucky, our community all over the nation and the world. And also what's to come. What are we looking forward to in the next year? So the future, again, honing in on that vision of the future, it can get easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and feel like it's forever. Kind of like sometimes a mushroom trip can feel like, oh my gosh, like, is this forever? This state, this feeling, this right now. And no, it shifts and it grows, and it's so much bigger than what we're experiencing right now. So it's really important to us to continue using our imagination to envision a better future, like an amazing future. What are we building for our children and our grandchildren? So there's so many different categories of the future. And what's listed here on this slide is just like a sliver of our vision of the future, but just looking at mental health, balance, and living in harmony being the norm. And again, this may be 50 years from now, who knows? This may be 100 years from now or 200 years from now, but what are we working towards? And all the programs and things that we're building. Our day-to-day living, we envision our neighbors being our loved ones, our friends, our family, people that we want to talk with and we want to share our day-to-day life with. End of life, something to be excited about, something to look forward to. This is something that we are thinking about more and more with Sanctuary, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but having a vibrant end of life is something that we envision for everyone. Governance, we are each other's leaders and each other's voices. So a more decentralized model where everyone's opinion is integrated. Physical health, we envision a world where mushrooms are a common sacred medicine. Our environmental future, a future where giving back to the earth is just a part of our routine and a day-to-day thing, something that we're not, burdened about every day thinking and worrying about, but something that we just have integrated into our day-to-day lives, giving back to our planet and space, other planets too. So really considering our paradigm and building on that. Many of you have been to sanctuary.org's website, and that's how you got here. You'll see we have a vision and mission page. Our vision and mission with Sanctuary is something that we come back to on a daily basis. It's really important to us that every program that we have, every community event that we host is rooted in building our vision and mission. So our vision is to live in a world with supportive and joyful communities, empowered to discover our own divinity with sacred mushrooms and each other. Our mission at Psanctuary: we're bringing people together for healing and connection to divine revelation through communion with sacred mushrooms. Our core values. So again, when the directors, our leadership teams, and our committees that we're building every week, whenever we are looking at something that we want to do, and there's a lot of things that get brought to the table on a weekly basis, our community is full of really curious people who want really good things for our world. And so we got a lot of ideas and a lot of projects and things we want to do. And whenever we are looking at those projects and assessing where we want to focus our time, energy, and money, we look at our values, our core values. You know, is this something that we feel like is centered and rooted in our core values? Those are family and community, individual liberty, faith, sincerity, compassion, and curiosity. And our guiding principles. This is something that we want to bring into the conversation more and make be more featured in what we do, are these guiding principles. So again, these things are something that are weaved into every program and event. We trust the mushroom to guide us. We believe in individual personal responsibility. We admit that we do not know. We're here discovering with you. We are an inclusive community. We're growing towards a decentralized model. We strive to provide safe and supported access to those seeking. And right here, this Sunday service, this is a huge part of what we do. For those of you who are new here, we are here on Sunday service every single Sunday. Many of you know, and a lot of you probably don't know, that our first Sunday service was started by me, Eric, Athena, and Athena's mom, who's here today, I think, in my parents' backyard. And it was just the four of us. I may cry throughout this presentation because, excuse me. I'm just in awe that we're here.
We love you.
Thank you. It's our 120th Sunday service today. Oof. I didn't expect to get emotional, honestly, but I saw there's 105 people here. And, you know, when we sat down in my parents' backyard almost 2.5 years ago, I did not see this coming. I really didn't. I had a vision. We all had a vision of what it could grow into. But I am just every day recently kind of flabbergasted that we have so much support in our community. So thank you so much for being a part of this really special day, and every single one of you that shows up for Sunday service. It just it means the world to our community. We have people tell us all the time that these Sunday services are a really important touch point for their week, something that they look forward to and can stay grounded in throughout their week, knowing that they can come and have a community to relate to and share with and get feedback and inspiration from. So thank you for everyone who's contributed to these Sunday services. Okay, coming back, bringing it back. Our Sunday services are a testament to our sincerity at Sanctuary. Sincerity is a really important part of us being able to operate with protection with Sanctuary. And so it's just a pivotal part, a really important part of what we do. We just launched a couple of months ago, I believe it was, we launched our first West Coast service, which is a service where we have been starting the service for those who have amazingly shown up so many times at 6 a.m. Eastern to be a part of this service right here. We want to build something that's comfortable for all of our members across the country. So the Pacific Coast, the West Coast service is at 10 a.m. Pacific on the first Sunday of each month.
All right, everyone. So I'm excited to just look at this picture. If we started with 4 folks in Courtney's mom's backyard, and now we have 326 members across more than 40 states and 4 countries. And we did want to highlight gender inclusivity, folks identifying about 50-50 male-female, 1 non-binary, 2 other. What I kind of took away from this, number one, I always keep saying, we're like a mycelium network, and we're spread out there, spreading around and, you know, growing. If we look at Kentucky and the number of folks in Kentucky versus everywhere else, we have a presence in Kentucky. And having that presence there, I think everybody, no matter how many Zoom things we do together, wants to be able to get together in person and connect in person. So I think that, you know, we're all thinking about ways that all of you members can have some more freedom to throw your own meetup for Sanctuary, get more people in your local area involved. And so looking at that, it doesn't have to be, one of the things I wanted to highlight is a lot of the stuff they do in Kentucky is not taking mushrooms every single time they're together. It's other things that we do together. So anyway, I'm excited to see how we may be able to spread, and I'm going to volunteer. I'm in Ohio to throw a meetup in Ohio coming soon. So with that, let's flip to the next slide. So our numbers, this is since August 15th of last year until August 15th of this year. The total amount of dollars that has come in is $168,000. Donations of about 10,000. Part of that we were able to give away 1 scholarship to a retreat, and we have some money set aside for the cultivation program that we have coming up for gifting cultivation. The donations otherwise, though, we've kind of just been like, thank you, thank you, thank you, because each month, sometimes there were months that we didn't know where we were going to come up with, you know, that if you look out 2 to 3 months, that's probably about how much runway we had before we would no longer have any money. So thank you for those that donated. For the fundraising, a lot of the Healing Circle donations will go in there. And then when we've had different markets and such, the merchandise that we sell on our shop is part of the fundraising. Sacrament services, that's money that has come in from either people doing one-on-one services or the campouts that we had. Membership dues, everybody's familiar with what those are. And Sacred Seminary is all of the various minister programs. And More Than Integration is one-on-one coaching. So that's the money that's come in. And then you can see kind of how we've distributed where the money's going. We do have, you know, a lot of supplies when we do a retreat. We have always PayPal and Stripe fees, but I am happy for the convenience it gives us. Paying folks to help with sacrament services, all of the time and energy that goes into developing a course, updating it on all of the different software that we have, ensuring that we always stay true to our vision and mission, making sure that we always keep legal protection in mind, doing the accounting, doing, all these different podcasts. And I'm just absolutely amazed that $168,000 that we were able to create what we've created and have the impact that we've had both on an individual basis. Each one of us, I think, has a story of how Sanctuary and the community of Sanctuary has impacted us, but then also the opportunity for what a grand scale it may create. We don't have, I didn't include a balance sheet because our balance sheet really is cash right now. Other than that, we have a big tent that we bought that we're able to reuse now. We have some silent disco headsets, and we have some camping gear that we can reuse. Otherwise, it's really the cash. And that cash, looking at, so I've done finance work a lot in my career, and usually you have an industry you can look at, you have a trend you can look at, you have the years and years of activity you can look at to be able to figure out what your budget should be, where you should focus, where you want your money coming in, whether or not you're managing it well. And really, we had to build that model here. There really isn't anybody else doing what we're doing. We were able to look at some of the other folks that teach or other churches or whatever. But so we'll see some, I think, better financial information coming out other than this over time, and sharing more about where we have things budgeted. Currently, it's been really creating it. Now we'll be able to say, okay, now where do we want to allocate those funds? So you'll have time at the end of the presentation, ask questions. And if you want to see more details, feel free to ask. One last thing I wanted to say. So Paul Stamets sent a thing out on LinkedIn the other day wanting to gather 1 million signatures so that they can spend $5 billion in California to create access and to research psilocybin. And I'm thinking, wow, $5 billion. For 168,000, this is what we've done. I would be excited to see what we could do with 2 million, with 5 million, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, keep going. We'll switch to the next one.
I bet on us.
Oh, go ahead.
I like the ROI on what we've done. I mean, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So we did want to include some quotes, like really what, this is our perspective from writing it and from going through what we've gone through, but really what is your perspective, right, on Sanctuary? So Jerry says coming to Sanctuary, he thought he was just going to find a way to try the mushroom, but he found much, much more. I found the community as a whole, which has helped me in so many ways, which I was not able to get from years of therapy. Using the mushroom has opened painful experiences, and the community is helping me understand them so I can work through them and find happiness.
Our community circles and workshops. So as Amy mentioned, talking about membership and looking at that really awesome membership map that she created, our circles and workshops, looking at all the people that we have in Kentucky because of our in-person presence. This is something that we want to bring to all of the states across the nation where we have members, is this kind of in-person community presence, which, like she mentioned, oftentimes, most of the time, 99% of the time, does not involve sacrament, doesn't involve mushrooms. It involves intentional conversation and activities, people coming together to integrate their families and their lives together, get feedback, and just be in this life together. So this is an example of what we want. Again, we want our presence across the US to look like. In Kentucky, we have weekly gatherings on Wednesday evenings from a church, at a church that we've been renting for Wednesday evenings. So we rotate different circles and workshops and gatherings, and they look like this. Cultivation workshops. We had our first LGBTQ plus circle, mind, body, soul circles. We had a film showing. We've had 12 in-person women's circles in the last year. 18 in-person community circles over the last year and 12 in-person men's circles over the last year. Oops, I think I skipped something here. Yeah. And also other gatherings and services. Again, I mean, this is really, there's honestly, we couldn't fit all the things that we've done in person on slides for time's sake. But this is some examples of our community coming together. We had 2 camping retreats, which felt like a big accomplishment because we increased accessibility with these camping retreats. This was a huge step for us. It felt like a huge step for sure, and increasing accessibility, moving to a camping format instead of, you know, like a much more, I mean, comfortable is a relative term, but is really important to us to keep our services, our sacrament services, as accessible as possible. And that accessibility is growing more and more all the time. But these camping retreats were a big milestone. You see mushroom hikes on here. Psilocybin isn't the only type of mushroom that we appreciate in this community. Eric's a certified mushroom identification expert, and we really love getting together as a community and foraging and coming back to that sovereignty value is really important to us, and that's a big part of it. Looking for mushrooms together. Fall Festival was a milestone, and we're going to talk about other festivals here shortly, but the festivals is a really important part of showing our community, our local communities, that you know, we're maybe not what you think we are. We really enjoy getting together and celebrating all of our skills. We've got so many amazing creators in our community that we got to showcase this fall festival, and this is something we want to do a lot more of. Showing the personality of our community is something we get to do at these festivals. Subtle sacrament days are something that we've done in the past and something that we want to empower our ministers to do in the future. Volunteering more, getting out in the community and helping. As we grow and are able to build our processes out more, I think we're going to see a lot more opportunities to come together and be of service to other organizations, other infrastructures in our community. Getting together as family is really important. We've had plenty of family park picnic type meetups since we formed, bringing our kids together and having this intentional conversation and community be something that they witness as they grow is absolutely fundamental to what we do. Amy.
Yeah, so thanks for all of that, Courtney. I think for those of us that are not in Kentucky, we've always been looking for ways like how can we replicate that on the Zoom, in the Zoom room. So one of the things that launched this year is virtual workshops that are run by our members. And this was something, you know, thinking about the dollar signs that we went back and forth on, like, how are people going to charge money for this? Or how do we take money for this? And it's like, let's just simplify it and share with each other the unique skills and talents that we have, that we would love to, that we get excited about and we want to share anyway with people that could benefit. And also this is a way to kind of grow and get to know each other better. I've joined several of these actually, but I guess I just want to say and highlight that I hear from folks out in the community how much of an impact these various workshops have. I've heard internal family systems. I've heard significant impact. The posture one I went to when I had hurt my hip, and I was so happy to have that as something available that I don't have to pay $150 to do. So anyway, if you haven't tried these out yet, I know summer is a busy time, but check them out. I think they're really some quality. And if you are wanting to run one, but you're a little scared, it's a great way to practice. So. 2023 festivals. Were invited to the Kentucky Yoga Festival and the Playthink Festival this year, and we were able to participate in both and learned a ton on how to participate in festivals. And maybe not to like take off too big of a chunk or something, but we pulled it together. And I just want to thank you for the volunteers that showed up there. Couldn't do that with just a couple of directors. And that's one thing we always say, the directors, but really we are Sanctuary, all the people that show up and help. This was such a big deal, I think, because this is both of these are sober festivals. And so for a mushroom church to get invited to a sober festival, that meant a lot to us. For us to be able to bring our families and share this with the broader community. I think we had about 3,500 people exposed to this, to us. And we really made an impact to some of those folks who were looking for a safe space to hang out and share about their experience. So anyway, I will move on to the next piece. And then, yeah, again, thank you, volunteers. When I think through everything we've talked about, there are folks that help with the membership process and the discovery calls. There are folks that help with every event that gets put on, leading the workshops, showing up. If you show up to the Sunday service, if you show up to any of these things, you are also helping to create Sanctuary. If you've donated money, etc. So anyway, I just want to say thank you. I had filled a whole page full of volunteers, and then I was afraid what if we forgot one person, so I didn't call out any specific names, but you know who you are. So, and what members are saying, Sanctuary has become a primary place where I connect with my community and cross paths with folks who, after more than a year of weekly contact at Sunday services and community circles, have become my cherished companions, my spiritual teachers, my human family. It's from Christine.
All right, y'all. I feel like a wild stallion getting let out of the stall here. I've been waiting to, my God. All right. So again, the focus here is the impact that we're having. And that's what I just keep seeing after every single slide that comes up. I can relate the impact that it's having on me. I can see the impact that this is having on our members and our community. I cannot overstate or thank you enough for every way that you're involved in this community, even if it is just a quiet meditation and reflecting on Sanctuary in your home. If it's coming to these Sunday services and listening quietly, you are having a ripple effect that is impacting our nation and world. We have seen the impact that psychedelics have had with very little exposure actually into our population, as they are somewhat slowly titrated out through clinical wellness models. And this is beautiful, where we also know that a massive, perhaps the biggest impact that Sanctuary is going to have on the culture as a whole is in terms of opening up accessibility to the sacrament. We know that these are safe substances. They've been used for tens of thousands of years by our human family. It requires, I don't want to say minimal, but a certain level of education to safely engage with these sacraments, and then community for ongoing support. So when we're seeing a world of $10,000 training models for access to, well, that don't even open up actual access to these substances, and we're able to provide that in a much more meaningful, much more personal, much more high impact way at a fraction of the cost, and then seeing what we're able to do with that, not insubstantial, but still pretty humble income, what the impact that we're able to provide is just phenomenal. So you can see the stats here where the Sacred Mushroom Seminary is. This seminary was an outcome of me engaging with the sacrament, being told, put the power into the people's hands, decentralize. This is not about any one person. This is about all of us lifting each other up. So it is really incredible to see the impact that this is having already. And for you, those of you who have been through these minister programs, you are having a major impact on me, and thank you very much. And I am already thankful. I'm seeing particularly the friends and family ministers who are starting to now administer sacrament to their friends and family. Again, we're just beginning to see the impact that this is having overall. So big thanks to all of you. What was it? Oh, this is the States.
map,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you can see it. I'm gonna let you all look over the slides. I'm gonna use my time to ramble. Sacred mushrooms. So the Sacred Mushroom Farm, this is a also a birth child of a mushroom trip, expanding access through the cultivation of sacrament within our own community, and also putting real intention into our sacrament. It's been a dream of ours from mine from go, particularly to be gifting out mushrooms. As someone who worked mushroom black market for many years, it pained me to a great deal to ever associate a price tag with these sacred medicines. I personally do not believe that there should be a necessarily associated price tag with sacred mushrooms. Those who donate for the gift of the sacrament, then you are greatly appreciated. Of course, we need resources to keep this thing running, but these are beautiful gifts of nature, and it is such a wonderful experience to be able to gift these out, and also to know that they are intentional. Again, as we start to see this culture grow and develop, you will see psilocybin mushrooms treated like any other commodity, and that will never be the case in Sanctuary. And I guarantee you that we will be able to show through quantifiable research at a certain point that the intention that is held around these sacraments is going to impact the nature of the experience of those who consume them. So I'm so excited for the future of sacred mushrooms as a branch of Sanctuary and the service that it provides, and also for what it will eventually, I'm certain, contribute to a deeper scientific understanding of these mushrooms themselves. So right now we're only gifting sacrament to ministers. We still, at every stage of this process, friends, we are really trying to ensure your legal protection. And right now, that is what we understand from the consultation with attorneys is the best way to ensure protection for those who receive sacrament from Sanctuary is that they are ministers who have been through our, honestly, minimal training, but as we grow, maximum support. So I got a member quote here. Jason says that joining Sanctuary was a conscious decision grounded in my desire for enhanced legal protection for my spiritual practice involving sacred mushrooms, my pursuit of personal integration and growth, and my aspiration to utilize my skills to enable others to commune with sacred mushrooms. I have found that Sanctuary, through membership process, robust legal structure, and the decision to record our services have all significantly reinforced the legal defense of my sincere spiritual practice. That is a real world impact. Someone who feels safe and secure to be a part of this community and a very public part of this community and engage with their practice. So thank you, Jason, and everyone else. All right, so these ministries, I just want to say about these ministries that, again, if we think about impact and how we can, as a community, reach out into the world and leveraging the incredible gifts and talents of our members, and also the diverse ways that mushrooms themselves touch our lives. There are so many ways that we can bring the mission of Sanctuary to so many fields, to so many individuals, to so many aspects of life. So we're going to touch on a few of those here. You may not have understood necessarily that these categories or these projects that we'll be talking about are ministries of Sanctuary. Again, some of this language is challenging for those who, like myself, have a history of religious trauma, but just understanding that a ministry is anything that forwards the purpose and mission of the organization. First and foremost, really front facing is this more than integration. When Courtney and I got back from Jamaica, I remember we were sitting in the kitchen one Friday night cooking pizzas, and we're just really talking about how we could improve upon the work that we had already done. And we asked ourselves what was really missing in the work that we did in Jamaica, and it was integration. There's always an opportunity to improve the integration of our sacrament experiences. it does not just look like recalling your experience. You're starting to see some of that in our virtual workshops. Bill Protzman, I can't thank you enough for showing up with your Find Your Power, Meet Your Power music workshop. That is a powerful form of integration. And there are so many others. So More Than Integration is really this coaching service that serves as an umbrella above all the different various aspects of coaching and integration. John Clark and his posture work, our physical body is not separate from our spiritual body. So all the ways that we integrate these spiritual sacrament experiences into our daily life is incredibly powerful. And More Than Integration seeks to really expand that scope far more than just talking about our mushroom trips. Psilocybin Says also is a mission of sanctuary. This is an outreach program that we help people get more comfortable with. Courtney and I, of course, and then our members. We've got several wonderful episodes that we've done with members, and there will be many, many of those to come. Jeff Love just dropped a beautiful episode that I highly encourage everyone to listen to. We're up to 107 episodes now. Courtney and I have been showing up every week for this thing, and it's pretty incredible. We get messages all the time. Connor, can't thank you enough on this slide. I have to, for the time that you voluntarily put into that program, and it is really wonderful hearing your voice be a part of that as well. So if you want to have some impact on this program and help it reach more people, then you can go to iTunes or Spotify and rate it. If you do it on iTunes or the Apple Podcast app, if you leave a written review, then that goes even farther. So, sharing these on social media, there's so many ways that you can have an impact that might seem little to you, but as James very well points out, that each one of these little drops in a bucket or each one of these ripples in a pond expands further and further out. Sacred Passage is just like, here's where I'm going to start to cry. I've worked with a number of people who have been in terminal cancer and have seen, honestly, I've seen some miracles come out of that. We recently started working on this concept of sacred passage as we had, Dr. Welby Winstead was the first person that Sanctuary supported through his terminal illness and in his passing, and it was just beyond a privilege to administer sacrament to him on his deathbed and hold space for him in that capacity. And Deborah Pierce, who has been very involved in the death doula training for a couple of years, came to us interested in helping to expand this service through Sanctuary. So along with Jason F. Tink and a few others of us, we have been putting together this program that will be called Sacred Passage. You can also see, as I like to play with words, this PS sacred coming into play. This is, again, an attempt to kind of create a hegemony among our different outreach programs in Sanctuary and help people see that, first of all, we are an organization that is focused on the sacred use of mushrooms, and also to kind of create that through line in messaging so that when people see Sanctuary, sacred, they know that this is part of the same community, same organization. So if you can just imagine the impact that end-of-life services will have on the individual, of course, the families of those individuals, and as it ripples out into the world, our society at large, perhaps there is no more noble ambition than to live a life of service that helps others die peacefully. That is the most terrifying, the greatest unknown in our lives. Every single one of us will face that. And so to be able to provide support, communion, community for that transition, that will have a massive, massive impact. So everybody that's been a part of that, huge thanks. And everybody that will be a part of that, it's going to be a beautiful thing. Oops, sorry.
Another quote, Eric just mentioned Debbie, who's a big part of our, one of the leaders in our Sacred Passage Committee. Debbie says, looking back on the journey of my life so far, although I was a very active part of a Christian Lutheran church up until age 32, I've never found a place where I felt so strongly that I belonged. It's not about dogma or belief systems. It's about full and complete acceptance and love of everyone, something I've never found anywhere else. Since joining Sanctuary, I feel at home with my tribe, and I'm so very hopeful for the future. Thank you to all the founders for your vision, perseverance, and hard work to make this organization a reality, and for your guidance in the future. Our goals for next year. Wow, I gotta say that these slides, these several slides we have coming up, are only touching our goals for the next year. We didn't want to spend the entire 90 minutes talking about the projects that we have in development right now. So just letting you know, this is just some of the things that we're looking forward to in the next year. Eric just talked a lot about our minister programs, and the idea with our minister programs is to bring the power back to the people, helping our members feel more empowered and supported in building their personal practice with the mushroom at home. So we have something very exciting coming up. A lot of you all have heard us talk about it. One, we have the Kentucky Mushroom Festival. This is put on by the same producers of Playthink and Kentucky Yoga Fest, the Sober Festivals that Amy mentioned in previous slides. So this is put on by the same people. They loved our presence at those two festivals this year, and they wanted us to have a big role in the Kentucky Mushroom Festival, the first really of its kind in Kentucky. So this will be at the same place as Kentucky Yoga Fest at Barren River Magic, October 6th through 8th. Sanctuary will have its own stage at the Mushroom Festival, and many of our ministers will be putting on workshops for all the attendees at Kentucky Mushroom Festival. And this is a really cool festival because it blends this Appalachian traditions of mushroom foraging and working with mushrooms with the healing arts, with the modern resurgence of psychedelics and healing arts. So it's a nice blend of both, and we will have a big presence there. And what's just as, if not more exciting for us, is our first ministers celebration. So this is something that we feel really honored to be invited to do on this property, the same property as the Kentucky Mushroom Festival. The day before the Mushroom Festival starts, we'll be hosting a celebration for all of those who have gone through and been ordained in our Myself minister program and Friends and Family minister program. So just for the cost of camping, our ministers can come together and with the spirit of celebration of our community and what we've built, commune with sacrament together. So again, this is a very different model than any retreat model that you'll see really anywhere else. This is in the spirit of envisioning our future at Sanctuary. Again, that like 200 years down the road kind of envisioning, where our children and ourselves as a community are really integrated in this practice of communing with mushrooms together. So kind of it's different than the retreat model, and an opportunity for us to just be together while we enter into the mushroom space. So there's not going to be space holders per se at this celebration. We're all going to be empowered and communing together. So a very exciting opportunity. And if you have any questions about it, reach out to us. Okay, Amy.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about committees or ministries or maybe having your own thing at your own place. And so we are spending some time right now working to come up with governance around all of that. So we want it to be as much of a decentralized model as possible, a community run by the community. At the same time, we want to make sure that we have the right guidelines so that we can ensure that we stay true to the vision, mission, core values, and guiding principles, and that you, if you decide that you want to create something with Sanctuary, that you are provided with the right support in order to be successful. So I think, there have been some, I think, some concern about the directors having maybe too much tightness on the reins. And I think it's been more, not necessarily that, but more that there's just been so many different things that we've been working on all at the same time that now it's time that we need to put more focus and attention on how can we enable folks to have more leeway and understanding of what they can do on their own without having to be a director. So more to come on that. And we have some folks out in the community helping us with this. And I think some examples are what's happening with the sacred passage and with the cultivation. These are people that have stepped up within the community to provide a service that the rest of us can accept and be thankful for. But it takes a lot. It's surprising how much planning and organization it really takes to do that. So I guess I'd just say, please be patient as that gets off the ground.
Yeah, and just expounding on what Amy just shared before, is that we're doing something that together as a community, we're doing something that really hasn't been done before. And so it's really exciting to be working towards a model that is customized for our vision of the future of collaboration, really like true collaboration and constant communication with each other. So I'm really excited to see how it unfolds.
And with that,
living wages for staff. Yeah, you saw our finances, and as I mentioned earlier, we started this in my parents' backyard, and have been building something new, and it's I'm so grateful for, we're all so grateful. Our leadership team is so grateful for the donations and the funds that we've been able to bring in. And with this growth, we want to have more security really for our leadership team and for those that are putting more energy and effort into helping throughout the week through various projects. We want to be able to pay people. We want to be able to provide health insurance for our team and more funds to expand our team so that we can really improve the quality of the services and programs that we provide. So really looking forward to that as our fundraising efforts continue to grow. And more scholarships. This is another really important thing to us, although we have mentioned that we have some of the most accessible programs and sacrament services that you will find. Even still, we know that it's not accessible for a lot of people still, and we want to continue to find ways to make our services and programs more accessible. And that can look like all kinds of things, really, but right now, we feel confident that we can provide more scholarships in the next year. For instance, the new Women's Subtle Sacrament program will be providing one scholarship per cohort. And that's really just a start. So as we continue to grow, continue to have more fundraising campaigns that look like different things, we'll be able to provide more scholarships for more of our members. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And member meetups. So this is one that I keep pushing for. So I'm going to step up and do one on September 9th. I'm going to have an open house at my sanctuary, which is my home. And so I guess, along with that whole governance process we were talking about before, I think there are folks that want to do some things, host some things, but maybe are a little unsure. Are they allowed to? What's the rules? How can they promote it? All that kind of stuff we have to try to kind of work out. So I think I'm going to be the guinea pig on this one. And hopefully we'll have something that's pretty easy, that doesn't require a lot of time or effort on anyone's part to be able to come together and hang out with your local sanctuary community. So excited for that and more to come on that. I also want to mention something that's not here listed specifically in the goals when we talked about a living wage and so forth, is that we always want to be looking at each of the programs that we offer and everything that we do and continually leveling up, making it better. I know there's some things that might seem a little bit chunky right now or not as smooth as they could be. Maybe when you first join, or if you're getting signed up for something, or maybe you ask a question, it takes a while for us to get back to you. You know, always wanting to make sure that we're increasing, you know, the subtle sacrament program. We're going to, thank you, Courtney. We're going to be doing some more stuff with that, adding a subtle sacrament 101 course at the front of that. So anyway, just always trying to get better and do better and incorporate feedback from everyone. And a location to call home. You know, it would be really, really wonderful if we had a space, because then we could have more campouts, we could have more gatherings. Courtney and Eric could have a place to work out of. Right now they're kind of moving around libraries and their kitchen table. And, you know, just having a place that we can go. It has been something that's been on our minds for a long time. And I think we could bring members from across the country into this space. So anyway, you know, that is something that we would like to financially be able to afford. Ooh, there's a 40 cabin site. So what members are saying on this one? So Honor is saying that over the past year, being a member of Sanctuary has allowed me to meet in person and online with a community of like-minded individuals who respect and support each other in their common pursuit of spiritual growth. Connecting with others who have a history in recovery from harmful substances and have found spiritual healing through the responsible use of psilocybin. Intentionally communing with God using the sacrament of psilocybin in a protected setting. Learning how to safely hold space for others through detailed coursework, lectures, group discussion, and supervised volunteer service opportunities. And moving towards my full potential as a spiritual being having a physical experience. Thank you, Honor, for that really good summary of the things we can do. So our call to action for all of you, I guess, number one, please share your feedback. We would love to know what you love about Sanctuary and what you'd like to experience more of. And also, if something's not going so well, you can, you know, we also want to know that. Invite a friend to Sunday service or an in-person or virtual event. Reach out to a fellow member to see how they're doing. We've been talking about, you know, when somebody first joins, we welcome them, but then maybe to have a welcoming group that continues to welcome members, or just to, you know, if you haven't seen somebody in a while, to reach out and make sure they're okay. Become an ordained minister and share your vision of impact. So with that, I think that is.
Yeah, look out for an email that'll come through with a recording of this State of Sanctuary annual review, and there'll be links to submit feedback in these various ways to make it a little bit easier for everybody, and a link to share with a friend, different ways to follow up and do these things. Thank you all so much.
And of course, the conversation right now. So what we would like to do right now is hear from you all. You know, not just a bunch of kudos for what's happened already, but really taking a next step, envisioning the future, envisioning maybe what role you as an individual might play. What we have here in terms of the ability to amplify individual impact is phenomenal. That's what really gets me excited. And having an organization of like-minded, sincere individuals, it just exponentially increases the potential impact that each one of us can have on our society at large. So as we shift into a new paradigm, we all are playing a significant role in that. So do not underestimate how powerful you are in this conversation. So maybe we can go ahead and close out the recording and get into a conversation.